This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5-time the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah!
G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, trying like country muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I might keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the vein, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got two is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
Hey guys, Tony Schiavone here, making chicken salad. That's sure gonna put some butts in seats.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. I am your host, Lachlan Albert, and I'm joined, as always, by the real king of the ring, Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Surprisingly, it's starting to get a bit cold up here in Brisbane. I say cold, it's like 20-something degrees, but that's cold for us. Yeah, it's Brisbane. That's hoodie weather for us.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm also joined by the next person to make a surprise appearance on NXT, Jeff Setti. Jeff, how you doing, mate?
How did you know you've seen next week's video? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. As I discussed with you boys before the show, mental health has taken a tumble this week, but that's okay. I'm looking after myself, and it's thanks to places like Gotcha for Life that you can have good conversations. So please do that. I digress slightly. I'd rather be honest.
John Blue, Gotcha for Life. We're huge supporters of them here at Wrestle Radio Australia, as everyone who listens well knows. So wanted to shout them out at the top, as well as shout out where you can come be part of the conversation with us here at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, because we have got an absolute ton to talk about, and we want to know what you think of it as well. So make sure you get here, but we need to crack in, or else we're never getting this show done, because, man, some of these shows ran for about 12 hours straight. So let's kick it off with King Queen of the Ring, coming direct from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And as a result, I have seen highlights, but I have not watched this one officially through the WWE, so my comments will be through that scope for anyone who thinks I've got some weird ideas on it. But let's kick off from, I guess, the big one first. Cody Rhodes defeating Logan Paul to retain the undisputed WWE Championship. This was, I think, a foregone conclusion that Cody was going to come out of this champion. But I think nobody can now talk about Logan Paul as anything other than a professional wrestler. This is his job. He is good at it. I think, when you're seeing 5-star frog splashes from the turnbuckle through the announce table and that sort of thing, you got to go, okay, he's a wrestler. He is a good wrestler. He's spitting the prime and all of that stuff. But this seemed to be a banger match. Hearing there was almost a vertebraker. Like, that's insane that these two are putting on, a really high-quality title match in this situation. And I also think that it's so cool to see things like the drone footage, the way they were recording certain moves in this match. And that's something I hope we see more of. Todd, let's go Jeff first, actually. Jeff, maybe a foregone conclusion, but did you enjoy the match?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was wonderful. And boy, when Logan Paul hit that frog splash that you mentioned, he was up there. It was like he hit the 5-star in a flash. It was just amazing to see. But it was
people watch that.
That was such a great show. Foreboding things here. It was such a great show, and that main event was truly a main event. It really had flow. The great thing about Logan Paul is they are working hard to make him a main eventer. But right now, he's believable in almost any position on the card. If you wheeled him out in the second match of the night, that's fine too. He's literally able to go anywhere. And I think that that's a full credit to the performer himself and his ability to be in touch with what professional wrestling is. And I think that, 2 years in, come on. Who are we kidding?
Insane. Todd?
Yeah, no, he's an absolute natural talent. Which, if he decided that this was going to be his, thing, that he was just going to do this and this alone, he would probably be above names like Cody. He would be up in that echelon already because he just has it. He has the thing the thing I always say you can't teach, that charisma that fans either are attracted to or dislike. He has that. Not only that, he has athletic ability up the wazoo. You can't do what he does off the top rope and stuff like that without being incredibly athletic. He also has an amateur wrestling background. He did amateur wrestling in high school. So he knew he's a good amateur wrestler. So he already had that as a base, going into it. And because when you're someone like Logan Paul and you've got the money, you can dedicate as much as time as you want to train. You can take 2 months and go to the Performance Center and hang out with Shawn Michaels and train non-stop for those 2 months. He's one of those guys that you would love to be able to go, the kid doesn't deserve it because he hasn't done anything in the sport at all. He doesn't deserve being where he is, but when he's in those spots, he excels. So how do you argue with it at the end of the day? Because him and Cody put on a cracker of a... I also know that Shane Helms was the agent for that match. That's part of the reason why the Vertebreaker was in that match. So...
But that makes sense. The guy wrestled great matches, and he can clearly put together a great match. He clearly can. And I'm the last person to admit this, but Logan Paul has probably quite sincerely atoned for those mess ups he did earlier in his life, and the fact that they leaned straight away into him being a heel. He's a heel for life now. I cannot see him being a baby face. I just can't.
Thing is, I can, but I also I see where he's smart enough to know that if I go into a crowd and they cheer me, I'm going to be a baby face. If they go into the crowd and I can feel them booing me, I'll switch. I'll just become a heel, which is the mark of he's just an entertainer. So already had that going into WWE. So he was already 3 steps ahead of everyone else going in because he already had that knack to him from doing what he's been doing for years on YouTube and etc.
Exactly, and I like the word that Tim Wilkes used in the chat, gravitas. That's exactly it.
Good word, too.
That presence, 100% correct. And he is the US champ for good reason. And speaking of champs, we've got a new women's world champion with Liv Morgan defeating Becky Lynch at King and Queen of the Ring and backing it up on Raw to maintain her new reign as the women's world champion. This is feeding into the story involving her, quote, taking everything from Rhea Ripley. And I think, as part of this, we have to discuss what happened at the end of Raw, which is kissing Dom Mysterio after Raw, well, in the US, went off the air because the sports had to start. So some of the US viewers may have missed it, but yeah, planting a big old smooch on Dom Mysterio, solidifying this takeover from Morgan. Todd, what do you think of this storyline?
Well, the way they set it up is that they've dropped these little breadcrumbs all the way through. They had a while ago. Somebody was in a backstage interview and you saw Liv come out of a dressing room, and then a couple of minutes later, Dom came out of that same dressing room. And then Dom was wearing the purple bandana, and then the purple bandana was missing. But later on in promo shots, you saw that Liv had a purple bandana in a pocket. So they dropped all these little breadcrumbs. But even after all this stuff happened, like in the match at King of the Ring, Dom showed up out of nowhere, threw a chair in, supposedly for Becky. It backfired. Liv hit her DDT on it, then a finisher, and that was the end of the match. And then he sort of screwed up again. Well, he didn't screw up again. The whole Judgment Day sort of screwed up again this week. But causing Liv Morgan to defend her title against Becky Lynch. After she kissed him, though, he didn't have a happy look on his face. So it's not like the plan had come together and they were together. It's still up in the air. He still looked upset. So there's still more stuff to go. It's got to be waiting until Rhea comes back, and then we'll see the full completion of this story, I guess.
Anyone who's not reading this, they're building something really special, because Dom has Latino heat. You know, it writes itself. Like his father, he has Latino heat. So it's natural. It's gonna be amazing.
And Tim Wilkes in the chat saying Dom's a lady killer for sure. I was saying to the boys before we kicked off, like, he can just have heat with the crowd forever by just having a parade of beautiful women make out with him. You know?
Yeah.
So 2 down, rest of the roster to go, and every time another gorgeous woman makes out with him, the crowd are going to keep booing him. I think that's delightful fun. Jeff, what do you think?
I can just imagine that argument with his wife when he gets home. Look, I'm not writing this, honey. I swear to God, I'm not writing this.
Could be a case
Jeff,
of the WWE.
Liv as the new champ?
Sorry?
What do you think of Liv Morgan as the new champ?
I think she's got a little bit of work to do. Only because last time she was champ, it was so wishy-washy. It wasn't a great championship run. But saying that, I think this new character, and she's playing it really well. Like, her character work has always been good, but it's so much better when it's heel work. So I think that she's going to be great in this role. And I think the WWE still need to do some work in making the crowd go on the journey almost.
Yeah, the thing is, she's never going to be a work rate champion. That's what you've got. No. That's what you've got Bayley there for. That's what Bayley is. She's your work rate women's champion. So, like, they're really depending a lot on character here with this one.
Yeah, and that's fine. Look, the Honky Tonk Man, and I mean that was a simpler time, and it was many years ago, and wrestling isn't quite what it is now. Honky Tonk Man got by on character as well. No one would say Wayne Ferris is a great worker, but his character.
Wayne would. Wayne would.
Yeah, Wayne tells that.
I know one person who thinks that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a WrestleCon story about him a bit later. But I do think that the championship run, there's enough faces and enough potential faces on Raw to make this so much fun. And my hope is Raquel Rodriguez makes it back, because I think that she'll beat Raquel, and that will help give her some justification.
I think Raquel's not far from being back, because there was a rumor that if it wasn't, like, spoiler alert for later on, if it wasn't Jordynne Grace on NXT, it was going to be Raquel coming back.
Raquel or Alexa were the two names that were thrown around.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think she'll be great.
Yes, speaking of champions, we've had another championship defended at King and Queen of the Ring, and that is Sami Zayn's Intercontinental Championship, which he retained by beating Bronson Reed and Chad Gable, with a little bit of the assist going to outside interference that Gable himself brought along. Todd, what do you think of the way this story with Alpha Academy and Gable's chase for the IC title is playing out?
I would have rather, and I've said this before, I would have rather had it at the start, him just berate all of this Alpha Academy and join up with the Creeds. Even join up with have the Creeds and Ivy Nile as well. Like all three of them join him instead and
Just
attack
the whole Diamond Mine transfer.
Yeah, attack like Tozawa, Otis, because it's a perfect sort of fit for him, and they're a harder edge sort of characters that would be good as his henchmen. I think they're sort of like they're dragging this out. I don't know why they're dragging it. Like I honestly I don't even know if they have any plans of doing that. But they're dragging this thing out to where people are going to start not wanting Gable and Sami Zayn, but they'll want Gable and Otis. Which is fine, but it's just not. It's not where I wanted to go. I want Gable to win that IC title because there's so many good chases in it, so many good matches in it. Like I'm sort of over Sami Zayn, to be honest with you, as a champion. I'm sort of over it.
Wow, and that's 60 days. Like he's had the title for about 60 days.
I didn't want him to win it in the first place.
No,
I don't know if you recall, I was dead against it.
No. Because I agreed with you that I wanted Sami to win it.
The three of us didn't want him in the damn match.
Yeah. Exactly. But you have to make do.
He was the heel, not Cody. Him.
Yeah. But I will say this. Gable is that good. He is that fucking good. I know, that's the first swear of the night. 17 minutes in, go figure. He's that fucking good that he is making this work. He is so good at whatever they give him because he just makes everything shine. His work has been amazing.
But the match, speaking of the match, because we should speak about the match because that's what we're actually supposed to be talking about. The match was really good. Unfortunately, like being that we're Aussies, we all knew why Bronson was in there, unfortunately, and that was to take the fall. But he played an excellent base for Sami, played an excellent base for showing off Chad Gable's strength, showed off his own abilities as well. Like it was a great showing for Bronson. Unfortunately, he's just caught in a position where there are other guys that we, I guess, as a fan base, would like to see in that position more than him right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it sucks that he was also appearing in this match rather than... But really, it was never about Bronson. It was never about Bronson.
No.
But right. I think if this was a let's put the big man on a show and see how he goes, because he's not done a lot of main roster prominent appearances like this one, I think he would have passed whatever test they had for him. I think he'll be featured more and more. And in fact, a great face turn would be as if he wants to go, because I think eventually they're going to put Bron Breakker against him, which will be great, and he can call himself the real Bron. I mean, it's really nice storytelling, and it would be a lot of fun. By the way, I am loving what they're doing with Bron Breakker, and they're even having a hard time making him a heel because the crowd. He's so good.
He's exciting.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a video that leaked of him getting ready to do that run in,
and he's like crawling. He's
but the speed he left in,
terrible.
Like by the time he was, I would say 10 rows back from ringside, right, Jeff?
Shit.
And then he started running as Ricochet jumped for the moonsault or his finish. And so by the time he'd landed, he was in the ring and sliding in to hit him with the spear. That's how quick the dude was.
So quick.
Yeah, in the time that moonsault took, he cleared 10 rows, cleared the barricade, and slid into the ring. Insane.
And we didn't really discuss that match he had last week. We didn't go there, but this crowd were cheering him when he was beating the shit out of that poor job guy.
Yeah.
The crowd were absolutely cheering him.
The way they've done it where they've tried to make him a ruthless heel, but he's too cool to be a ruthless heel. They like him. They like the fact that he's just destroying the shit out of people.
Especially because his talent is in spades. He's so good that you can't hate him. You've got to go.
But they're also starting him on the main roster against two guys that can work their boots off in Dragunov and Ricochet. You couldn't ask for two more people to help him. Welcome him to that main roster than those guys.
And I don't know if you saw, the way Dragunov was selling after that match, even like backstage, limping, grabbing his gut, you know? Like, that's how you put over a guy like this.
But don't forget, Dragunov has a lot of experience with him already. He has already worked a lot with Braun in NXT. And great matches, like fantastic matches. I think there were 4 or 5, like over a while. Because Dragunov's stories have got to be built slowly. I reckon he's that special a wrestler. But again,
and like everyone's feeling that, I think, with Dragunov, right? Is like the reason that he didn't go further in the King of the Ring is like, we need to hold these matches back for when they're a little more relevant.
Yeah.
And everyone.
And I didn't even mind that the Monday night match between Ricochet and Dragunov ended in like a nothing because it's really building something. Anyway, we should talk about the King and Queen.
Well, speaking of those King of the Ring tournament matches, let's talk about how these tournaments ended. First of all, the Queen of the Ring finals had Nia Jax defeat Lyra Valkyria to become the Queen of the Ring. My turnaround on Nia in the past few weeks has been shocking to me, right? She's doing, I think, the best work of her career. And we said when she had that match against Rhea that it was the kind of the best Nia match we had seen. And she somehow stayed at that level, which has really surprised me. I think that I have seen the finish to this match, which involved Lyra going for a sunset flip with Nia on the second rope. And Nia just on the turnbuckles, and Nia just dropping into that, you know, pinning position. Awesome stuff. And makes Nia look genuinely dangerous. Makes Lyra look like a fiery babyface trying everything that she can.
Well, the sad thing is, Nia is generally dangerous. That's the problem. Like, she missed... Like, she could have actually legitimately hurt Lyra on that because her hand slipped off the rope and her full weight went down on Lyra for that finish. So even if she wanted to kick out, I think there was pretty much bugger all chance she was going to. Still, it looked amazing.
It looked amazing.
It did look great.
So what do you think, Jeff, of the choice to make Nia Jax Queen of the Ring?
I much like you, I think her work rate isn't quite there, but she is a lot better. Like she's improved out of all sight, as we've all kind of agreed, while being slightly dangerous. I think right now I put her like when Mark Henry started the Hall of Pain gimmick. Like that's what they're doing with Nia. Nia's basically adding people to the Hall of Pain. Sure, she's calling it something else. She's putting her own spin on it, but that's what's going on. And as riveting as the Hall of Pain gimmick was, I reckon this will be the same. I reckon this will get there to be that really.
She's on the SmackDown brand, isn't she?
Yeah, so she'll be going after.
So she's got Bayley, okay. Because like Triple H announced too that the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring both get title shots at SummerSlam. So that's what was on. So we'll see. It was Bayley and.
Well, at the moment it's Bayley, unless Nia goes on TV and goes, "I'm changing. You know, I can go after anyone. I'm going to go."
Yeah, but it makes no sense. It makes more sense than going after a babyface. Yeah.
What did you think of Nia as Queen of the Ring, Todd?
I was honestly shocked that they put Lyra in the position they put her in. Like I didn't think that. I thought, maybe they're going to go all the way with her. Maybe they really see a lot in her. They obviously do see a lot in her, but just not enough to. Okay, we're going to put her in that spot with, say, Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. Not quite ready for that yet. But let's see how she does in a main event with someone like Nia. And Nia's got, like you said, Nia's gotten a lot better in the last couple of months, etc. Alex Firehart said, "Do we assume that she went back to the PC for a while?" I honestly think, and this is not a dig at all, but she actually got herself into a bit of decent shape. Like she has dropped a considerable amount of weight to what she was before she left, and obviously that's helped her movement in the ring. That's helped her with certain things, and that's not a shot at her at all. You can be whatever size you want, but it's obviously just helped her mobility a tad.
But to the end of Alex's question, whether she's motivated now compared to the end of her previous run, I think she would have particularly suffered because of her body type and the way Vince McMahon is. There, I said it, but I'm pretty sure you both agree with me. I don't think the outside the ring issues in WWE would have helped someone who is as who is quite a larger shape, like Nia. If you're the Big Show, no problem. If you're Nia Jax...
See, I think that, and again, like, not to go too much on Vince, but I think he had the idea of, oh, great, a monster. We can build her for a month and then have her lose and then put her back in the cupboard. And when we decide we need a monster again, we'll take her back out. Whereas I think that having her as an imposing force as part of the women's roster is more interesting. And I also think that it's a good decision to have her win Queen of the Ring, because where you've got other women on the roster who already have a lot of prestige around them, right? Like Io just lost a really long title reign. You've got, Dakota is the leader of Damage Control at the moment. You've got Bayley's a champ. You've got all of these people who have, gravitas to them. Whereas Nia has kind of only ever failed at the last hurdle. So having Nia in this position where she's got something to go, I'm Queen of the Ring, I'm important, you all have to fear me for a valid reason, I think is useful to her as a performer. The other side of this event, the King of the Ring final. I know we're all shocked that Gunther won this one. Really, I don't know how anyone could have picked it from the first moment that he was announced from the tournament. But Gunther defeated Randy Orton in the King of the Ring final. There was a controversial end in which Randy Orton's shoulders were maybe pretty obviously not down, to the point where even commentary had to point it out. And due to that, Paul Levesque has offered Orton a rematch versus Gunther, quote, when he's ready to compete. Meanwhile, Gunther has come out and claimed that he will be challenging for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam.
What are the chances he's ready to compete at Clash at the Castle? Just,
maybe.
I think he might be, which will be another great match. Look, Randy Orton is doing the work of his career, both in terms of characters, he's genuinely funny, and also in terms of, like, inside the ring, the guy is still incredibly good. And Gunther is Gunther. Walter is absolutely one of the best wrestlers on this planet. And the way they opened Raw, ladies, and it was brilliant. It was so good and so funny. Gunther's going to be a world champion one day. It's just
I think he's going to be a world champion at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I tweeted out on, I think it was whenever SmackDown was. So the day before I was like, I think that this is possibly the best work of Randy Orton's career, just because he's so much more of a well-rounded worker now. Because he knows he's been there, he's done that. He doesn't feel like he has to prove anything to anyone. He's there to get the job done. If he's there to put someone over, he's there to get them over. If he's there to get over on someone, he'll bring them along before he goes over them. Not like the old Randy. Old Randy sometimes would just bury a guy because I'm supposed to go over you, mate. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah, exactly. That guy's not there anymore. He's so much more of a well-rounded athlete and a wrestler, and just his head is in the game right now, and it's really, really, really good to watch.
Well, I don't know about their relationship, but
okay. Yeah.
Jesus.
But him and Gunther, they told such a good story around just that chop. Around that chop, they built the story around like him trying to avoid that and his knee getting buggered up, and the one thing I do love is that back in the day, when something like that would have happened, that finish would have happened, they would have just ignored it and kept going on with it. Whereas they addressed it straight away. Like, that was straight after the event. Triple H said, look, I can't do anything about it. The referee's final decision is final. Yeah. But I'm sure as soon as he's back and well, because I know his knee's banged up right now and I know his shoulders and all that good, as soon as Randy's ready to go, he can have a rematch with Gunther.
I mean, it's quite clear that the arm being up was intentional. It's quite clear.
I don't know. I don't know if it was. I honestly don't know if it was. I just think it was one of those things, and they've gone, look, we're going to have to address it because it's so blatant. And so they've done it in the best way they can. So look, Randy mightn't be around for a little bit. When he gets back, he can have his match straight away. And who knows, if Gunther wins that title, that's a perfect first guy to challenge him.
Isn't it?
Well, if Cody like takes a couple of months off, that's the perfect first guy to come back and challenge the guy.
But that's the thing, he's not challenging Cody. He's announced that he's going for the World Heavyweight.
Oh, he's on SmackDown, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's going to challenge either, and this is moving into our next story.
No, he's on Raw.
He's announced
Damian Priest. Yes, sorry. I keep forgetting that things on. Yeah, Cody's on SmackDown. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So, it's going to be either Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre who will be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash in the Castle. So, first off, what do we think about this Clash in the Castle matchup? Priest McIntyre World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, Jeff? Perfect for it. It's in Scotland, so
yeah. I think it's great. It
feels like a no-brainer.
Priest is improving because they're riding to his strengths now. Insofar as that he is a bit like Orton was in 2009, an awesome performer with a unique presence. And I think now they're going, what do we do with Randy? Oh yeah, let's do that with this bloke because I think it'll work.
Do you know what's hard though? It's going to be so very hard because you've got Damian Priest, who is supposed to be a heel, but people really are starting to cheer for him as a babyface. You've got Drew McIntyre, who is supposed to be a heel, but in Scotland, there's no way he's going to be anything but a babyface.
Yeah,
it's going to be very, very hard. And if Tim Wilkes has said Punk to screw Drew, if Punk does that, he's going to get booed out of that building in Scotland. I would not be doing that if I was WWE.
I think it's going to be smarter than that. I think Punk will be out there to commentate, and the two of them are going to beat the shit out of each other to the back, and there'll be a count out, and then they're just going to come back in the building and just keep going, and that'll be the close. The two of them just beating. Let that go.
Yeah, I can't.
I agree to the extent that I don't think it's going to be Punk interfering to screw Drew, but Drew's obsession with Punk is going to cost him the opportunity to win the match.
Yeah.
Right?
So they can't do a count out, they can't do a DQ, they just can't do that on a pay-per-view in Scotland. You just can't do it. You just cannot. It's a Raw, yeah.
But in Scotland, you're right. You're right.
And here's the thing: if the option is, as much as I would like that title to stay on Damian Priest because I think he deserves that championship and holds it well, I don't think there's any problem with McIntyre taking it in Scotland, and the result of that being Gunther versus McIntyre at SummerSlam for the title. We've seen Gunther and McIntyre before. I'm okay with seeing it again.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite nice.
Oh,
yeah, good points.
Yep.
Also, I think Punk could. They could be smarter than that. Punk could actually force Priest to lose because he wants to fight McIntyre for the belt. So the crowd will love him, and then he can lay McIntyre out, get a bit of heat. And then off we go. They're out of there that night. It's not like that they're in Scotland every week. And
no. You've still got to try and get out of there, though. I mean, fucking Jesus. Have you seen the size of Scottish guys?
Could be a face the next night.
There's this one called Drew McIntyre. He's huge. I think what's interesting about this is there's so many potential opportunities for great storytelling, right? And it feels like there aren't that many opportunities for them to screw this up. Because whichever way it goes, I'm cool with that. If we end up with Priest retaining and it's by Punk interfering, I'm cool. If it's not by Punk interfering, great. If, McIntyre gets it, great. And we get him versus Gunther, awesome. If it's triple threat McIntyre, Gunther, Priest, sick. All of these options seem enjoyable. And that's so refreshing.
You're like a little boy at the candy shop. I had a milk bottle. Sick.
Black cats, yeah. Tim Wilkes also says we have money in the bank between Clash and SummerSlam. I don't necessarily know if the title will get defended at Money in the Bank, though, right? Because we've got so many main titles now that not everyone needs to get defended on every show. Like we saw on this show, only one of the women's world titles got defended, and only one of the secondary titles got defended. Right? We got both of the men's major titles, and then the IC and the women's world. So Money in the Bank, I can absolutely see it being the undisputed gets defended, and the one of the women's titles and maybe the US title gets defended, and the 2 Money in the Bank matches. Bing boom.
Do you think they're gonna switch them off like that, and then on the major shows like your SummerSlams, your WrestleManias, your Royal Rumbles, all the titles get defended? Because that's not necessarily, without like literally saying this is a branded pay-per-view. You can still do sort of that and be okay with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's where I think it's going.
When we were at Chamber, nothing was defended. The tag title were defended. The tag titles, and that was it. So, and that was an extremely entertaining show, like as a show.
The women's title was defended.
Oh, the women's title was the main event. Duh.
Yeah.
But neither of the men's titles were defended.
No men's single titles were defended on that show. No. So you can put on these events and not have those belts on them. I think that's what we're going to see with Money in the Bank. Anyway, should we talk about the other company?
Do we have to? Can we have a break before it? Are we going to?
No.
If we have a break before it, we'll need a break after it too.
It's like a Band-Aid. You just rip it right off, brother.
I'm going to make another
Get comfy. We're going to be ripping this off for a while.
I will explain. I have a cold. I'll be back in about 2 hours, and you'll still be going. No, I'll be back in 5.
Absolutely. So the AEW International title kicked off AEW Double or Nothing. Will Ospreay defeating Roderick Strong, who was accompanied by Taven and Mike Bennett. What do you think about Ospreay as the AEW International Champion?
Well, when it happened here, I was fine with it. After Dynamite, not so much. We'll talk about that after we
talk about that later.
Yeah.
But without the additional context of Dynamite.
Yeah, on the face of it, of course it's always good to have someone like Will Ospreay with a title always putting on a match of Ospreay's caliber on as many shows as you put him on. So it's always going to... But that being said, like, Roderick Strong is a great mid-card type champion, like shit-heel type champion. So it's sort of like... It was good, and it was a good match. So I'm just going to say it was a really good match because we knew it was going to be a good match because it's Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was
right,
like 18 minutes.
Yeah. Tim Wilkes says MCW shout out from Will in the media scrum as well. Nice. Yeah. Billy Ospreay puts on good matches. Alex Firehart says, I was only really disappointed to learn Ospreay won because it was the result you could see coming from a mile away. Yeah, but I don't necessarily... That's a bad thing, right? There's this idea that predictability is the enemy of good wrestling, and I don't think that's true at all. Sometimes things need to be predictable because otherwise the surprises don't mean anything.
Yeah, otherwise you bitch for a year about Cody not winning at WrestleMania.
Yep, exactly, right? Adam Cole came out and he got beaten up by a returning MJF who was doing his best Triple H impression, wearing the denim jacket and the leather jacket over the top and looking just incredibly over-tanned. What do you think about MJF returning, Todd?
Well, it's great for them. Like, I'm surprised that they didn't put him on this week's Dynamite. I think that was a dumb move. They're holding him off till next week. I don't know why you don't put him on the very first week after he's back. That to me seems like a no-brainer, but it is what it is. Good promo, although I don't know how long he's been away for, because his little speech. But have you seen did you hear his speech? He was like I didn't need New Japan to create me. I didn't need Vince McMahon to create me. Vince hasn't been around for a while, bro. I don't know how long you've been gone for. He's not there no more.
Yeah, but it's MJF, so he's going to say Vince McMahon because it gets hate, right?
Yeah. I'm going to let you.
World's End, Tim. When was World's End month-wise? Because my memory for AEW pay-per-views is not there like that anymore.
Was it the end of the year?
And J Corp's Wild Ride says he said it because it rhymed. Yeah, World's End was right at the end of the year. It was New Year's Eve, right?
There you go.
Well, New Year's Eve.
Do you think the tattoo was real?
Yeah, I think it was. I think
it's very easy for him to be able to black it out that AEW if he ever wanted to.
Yeah, I think so. And I also think that, I'm not going to bet against tattoos being real since Cody's still got that thing on his neck. So, I'm glad to see MJF back because he's something interesting. Right?
Yeah, he's a breath of fresh air in a very stale feeling company at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know that this particular promo was his best work, but I'll be interested to see where this goes because he did get a good beating on Adam Cole, which seemed to be the feud that was set up for when he returned. But
the thing I've heard and I read on that is that Adam Cole is nowhere near quite returning just yet. So they sort of had to put a button on it without putting a button on it. Mm-hmm. So I think that was their way of doing that.
Yeah, that's fair. Alex Firehart says, I find it silly anyone would tattoo the company they work for on their body, regardless of who they work for. I do agree in saying that if we get 5,000 subscribers to twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia, I'll get a WRA logo tattooed on the butt. That's fine. For our second match and our second title on the line for Double or Nothing, the World Trios titles and the World Six-Man ROH titles were on the line. So that's right. We are... What's that, Jeff?
That's not the important thing. The important thing is you're going to be getting a tattoo, son. Right across the neck.
5,000 subs.
WRA.
Not in the Cody spot, no. So that's right. This is match 2. And we are up to, let me count here, 7 belts defended in the first 2 matches. Not a joke. 3 trios titles, 3 six-man titles, and a single international title. The Bang Bang Gang
and a partridge in a pear tree.
Jay White defeated Death Triangle, As I Cry, the team of Pac, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Ray Phoenix. Again, wasn't going to be a bad match. Don't know that I needed it.
But that was also with the return of Juice. That was pretty much to set up the return. Yeah, the Juice Robinson return.
It's a 12 return.
Yeah.
But is it worthy of being on a pay-per-view? I spent most of the show going...
It is, but the problem is that there's just too many matches on these cards. Yep. There's just too many matches on them. It's worthy of being on... You can't say it's not worthy of being on a card like that because it's a title and they are... you might not like them, but I think the Bang Bang Gang are actually really good. I think Austin and Colton Gunn are going to be very, very good. Jay White, you can't really argue. Death Triangle, say that they're shit and then go and visit Lachlan because he'll be quite angry. He'll give you the thrashing of your life.
Death Triangle.
Or
yes,
say that
he'll be a stern talking to.
Say that they're shit and then take the glasses off and actually watch one of their matches because they're fantastic. Far be it from me to say they're shit. No, what I'm asking is, this could have been on a bloody Collision. This could have been on a...
Yep. The problem is, mate, all of these matches could have been on one of those shows because that's what they do. So they've sort of made the bed themselves to lie in. Yep. The 2 matches they put on the pre-show were matches that could have been on a Collision and a thing because they had no real stakes to them. Everything in this show had a stake to it. So you can't really...
You can't argue that there wasn't a reason for any of these matches.
No.
Beyond the
it's just that... It's just that no one's harsh enough to... Well, Tony isn't harsh enough to go, okay, this would be cool. We don't need it tonight. FTW 3-way, we don't need that tonight.
Forever.
I would have put... Honestly, Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta... I think had more to be on a pay-per-view than most of these matches on the card because there was more stakes to it, there's more feeling to it, there's more of a story to it. John Moxley didn't need to be there with Takeshita.
Yeah.
That was an excellent Dynamite main event.
Hey, great match.
Excellent match.
Dynamite main event.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, look, let's keep talking about the show, and I will mention the buy-in matches, which were Deonna Purrazzo defeating Thunder Rosa, and a 6-man tag with Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed defeating Cage of Agony, which is Gates of Agony.
Brian Cage.
Right. So thrilling stuff there. But moving on with the show, third match and third title match for the main show. The AEW Women's World title was defended by Toni Storm, defeating Serena Deeb. I like this match. This was good. Everything Toni Storm does, I'm enjoying. Serena Deeb is a good opponent. Yeah, I think this was good. I think this is a match that should have been on the card. I think that it did everything it needed to do. This is one I got no complaints about.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think the intrigue with Luther and Mariah and Tony is a bit of fun with, holding the towel and calling Luther a bastard. It was wonderful, and her character work is on point. Serena Deeb is such a good wrestler. Yeah, I loved it. I thought this was a really, really good match.
Yeah, but it's a really good match, but it also points out the biggest problem, one of the biggest problems with AEW, is that you've got someone like Toni Storm, who everybody wants to cheer, and they try to put her firmly in the place of a heel going into this match with Serena Deeb, talking about the trials and tribulations Serena Deeb had all on a time off for injury heading into this match, where the crowd didn't want to give a shit about that because they were too entertained by the Timeless one.
Yeah.
So they didn't really want that. They didn't want to hear about her having fucking operations and having to come back from, because they didn't give a shit. They wanted to see Toni Storm. This is where he needs to, Tony in particular, needs to draw a line and go, okay, you're a fucking babyface, you're a heel. And we're not going to put you up against each other, because it's either going to... That did nothing really to help Serena Deeb's return.
Or Tony. It's not going to help Tony long term.
Well, like, Tony is fucking bulletproof at this point. That character is bulletproof. Yeah, so there was no way that those two were going to hit each other and, like, Tony come off worse off. That just wasn't going to happen. Serena was always going to come off worse off with this.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you have her as a dyed-in-the-wool baby. If she'd have come in as a heel and attack Tony, and let's just make Tony a babyface, totally different story. Because she could have looked good coming out of that.
Todd, that is why I've been saying for weeks it's time to turn her face. Like, strongly. Just turn her face, 100%. Have Luther come out with timeless Toni Storm balloons. Or some ridiculous kitsch, maybe throwing out Frisbees to the crowd or something like that. Ridiculous.
They don't have to change anything. They don't have to change anything of it. Just fucking put her up against heels.
Yes.
That's all you do. You don't change anything about it. You put her up against heels.
I think AEW had a hard time listening to the crowd, and I think it's why Swerve Strickland ended up winning the title so far after he maybe should have, right? Like, that's a repeated thing that I'm seeing, is by the time AEW realizes what the crowd is begging for, it's almost too late, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
the thing is, like, when Toni wrestles, she doesn't wrestle as a heel either. She just wrestles.
She's just
when Mariah May wrestles, she's wrestling as a heel.
Yep.
It's such a disconnect, and that's the hardest part about her shtick at the moment, is that there's such a disconnect between Mariah May, Toni Storm when they're not together, and what are they when they're not together? Like Mariah's a totally different person when she's not anywhere near the orbit of Toni.
Yep. Alex Fireheart makes a really good point. Deeb in this dynamic specifically would have made a lot of sense. Just being a no-nonsense wrestler sick of Tony's shtick. It's exactly the same matchup. You just put Deeb in the heel role and you have Tony in the face role and have the same match and it gets the same response.
Yes. 100%.
That crowd on Saturday night, Sunday, whenever it was, were absolutely cheering every single thing Tony did.
Yep.
Tony
After this week
right now could put a little kitten through a bandsaw and the crowd would go, "Oh, this is the best thing ever."
Classic.
And Meltzer would give it 5 stars anyway. So let's...
On to the first of 2 non-title matches on this show. Orange Cassidy beat Trent Beretta.
Good match. Like, a lot of stuff going into it. There was more stuff coming out of it, like on Dynamite today. Trent should have won. I know that the whole Orange never loses thing, that's cool, but Trent should have won that. To add a little bit more to the fire to it, like add a bit of, like, give the kids, like, doesn't hurt Orange at all to lose a match.
No.
It helps Trent a lot more to win one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially to really legitimize Trent's new
Beretta.
character. I mean, to really, really give Trent that push. I like Trent.
And they did more of that today with Trent joining the Callis family and attacking Orange, and then they hugged over Orange Cassidy and all that sort of stuff. They did more of that today, but still, like, for a company that says wins and losses matter, they tend to make people lose a lot more than what they should or what they need to.
Alex has just come up with a great point. They could have had Trent win by a ref stoppage, which would have really, to drive home the point of how pissed off he is. Just to have him by a ref stoppage. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Bloodied, like, absolutely.
Or even, like, DQ'd.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't,
He couldn't win, so kicked him in the balls. There you go. There's a good ending.
So.
Now, if I could actually remove any match from the card, it would have been this one. The For the World title 3-way match. Chris Jericho defeating Hook and Katsuyori Shibata. Get Chris Jericho off my television screen now. Why is Katsuyori Shibata still wrestling? Because the man is barely alive. And Hook's cool.
Look, like, Shibata's amazing. He just is. I know that he shouldn't be wrestling and all of that stuff. The guy can still go. He can still go. But I really don't think he thought he was going to fight his way back from everything he has to be in a fucking 3-way match with Chris Jericho and Hook, where Chris Jericho is putting dice on the floor and fucking doing all this dumb shit. Like,
and not win the match either.
No, and like, I actually really, really enjoy Shibata's promos. I think they're great. The whole typing into a phone and having Google Translate do his promos, love that gimmick. Especially that shit with Samoa Joe the other week.
Yeah.
A big man like that shouldn't wear floral patterns.
Yeah,
or after I win the FTW title, I'm going to go and see Carrot Top because I think he's funny.
Yeah. He's so good.
It's so good, but like...
And the great thing is it's the antithesis of everything you know about Katsuyori Shibata. So it's delightful.
And as much as people will hate me saying this, Hook just needs to go to the WWE. He needs to go to the PC and get a little bit more training. I love the guy, and I think he's going to be great. He just needs a bit more seasoning when he's not being exposed the way he gets exposed. And I don't want to say carried because he's not. A lot of times he's not carried. But, yeah, a little bit Cargill-ish. But it's like Jericho right now is... I think I tweeted it today, right? It's funny how when I saw Big Bill with Starks, it made me go, shit, you know what? Big Bill's got something. I know we've fucking given him stuff and we give him his shit and all that. I think this guy's got something. Him and Starks, that's not a bad team. And as soon as he gets with Chris Jericho, I'm like, oh, look, he's Jake Hager too.
Yep.
I don't give a shit about him now. I really don't care. And the fact that poor fucking Brian Keith has to suffer because Jericho wants to play into what everyone's saying about him online, which is fucking true.
Yeah.
Like, he's using the words like welcome to the Jericho Vortex and blah, blah, blah. Nobody ends up better when they've worked with him. Yeah. I don't care what Jericho says, and Jericho's like this whole thing. Jericho at the moment went on into some interview and said that you've got to know when the fans hate you to play into that and all this. They don't hate him. They just want him to go away. We don't hate you. We just don't give a fuck about you anymore. Go away. I want to miss you. I want to miss you. I want you to come back and go, oh, shit, I haven't seen Jericho for a while. I'm sick of him. The whole fucking... The fact that he even called his promo thing TV time. It's heat, but it's not the heat that you want. It's go away heat.
Someone shared a post the other day that had, comparing two people, and I can't remember who the other one was, but one was Jericho. And everyone in the comments was saying, clearly Jericho's worse off in this. And I said, if Jericho had retired 3 years ago, we would all be talking about how Jericho is one of the all-time greats. Right? But we can't because he's stinking up our TV screens every week. It's so tiring.
Here's my take.
I get what he's going for. I honestly get what he's going for in his promos and the way he's doing. He's playing into everything, and he's trying to, he's obviously getting, a certain degree of heat because we all fucking hate him. But it's not the hate that makes us want to go and see him get his ass kicked, which is what you're supposed to hate a heel to the point where you want to see the babyface kick his ass. We just want to see him go away. There's a difference. It's a different type of heat.
Here's my take. Had he gone at the end of the MJF feud, I said, here's my take. What the fuck is that?
He triggered. He was quick on it tonight. He was too early.
Here's my take. Had Jericho buggered off at the end of the MJF feud and then come back in this smarmy learning tree gimmick, which in essence is funny and really good work. But it's diminished by the fact that he's just so overexposed that we can't enjoy it. There's no enjoyment in it because he's there all the fucking time. Chris, how can we miss you if you won't go away? Get off the screen for a year, come back with this gimmick, and people will love it while hating you. And don't wrestle. Just come back as the learning tree manager. What a great role for a manager. And someone like Chris Jericho would pull it off beautifully.
Yeah, the good news for those who watch Dynamite is that he announced that he's going to spend a lot more time on Collision and Heat. On Heat. Collision and Rampage. If that's not a fucking Freudian slip, I don't know what is. Fucking hell. Calling a Rampage Heat, that is Freudian.
At least you can call it publicity.
Anyway, another title on the line. IWGP World Heavyweight Title Eliminator match. Jon Moxley defeating Konosuke Takeshita. Good workers.
It was a great match. That didn't need to happen. If you were if Moxley was going over, just put the title on the line. Don't do Eliminator. Don't do the Eliminator.
He's the champion already.
Yeah. I think it was Takeshita got the thing, and then today on Dynamite, it was Rocky Romero, who hadn't won, it was 1-11 or something in AEW and still got an Eliminator match. Yeah. So, this makes no sense to it, and that's the problem. Everybody knew that Takeshita wasn't winning that match. Because
there was no way.
New Japan would not let them change that title on a AEW pay-per-view regardless.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
At least not unless it was maybe Forbidden Door. Maybe.
But I still doubt that.
Any thoughts?
Look, I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was good to see Moxley wrestle instead of just go to barbed wire baseball bats and slicing his head open. It was really nice to see him wrestle because you forget how good a wrestler the guy is. But there's no way with these two, in any way, this was going to be a bad match. There's just no way. Takeshita is incredible. I'm so glad he's part of their roster. He's just fantastic. And the attitude and everything, his presentation is really, really caught up now. I enjoyed this. But like yourself, Todd, could have been the main event of Dynamite. Really could have. And they could have capped it on Heat the next night. Or the night after. Or whatever it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, speaking of slicing heads open with barbed wire, the AEW TNT title was on the line with Adam Copeland defending against Malachi Black in a barbed wire steel cage match. I don't like when steel cages don't have an escape the cage end.
You don't like that?
Sorry, I'm fine if a pinfall can happen in the match. I don't like if they can leave the cage and it's fine and nothing happens. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a Hell in a Cell. That's different. Like that's the building where you use the floor. If you're giving me a cage, especially a barbed wire cage, if someone's able to literally make their way through barbed wire to escape, they should win. Right? Otherwise, this is just a barbed wire ropes match, but rigged up the lazy way.
Didn't have an explosion at the end.
Like, I think the match was what it was. I think it's terrible that we'll mention coming out of this that Copeland fractured his tibia and will need surgery, being out for the foreseeable future, which, retaining the TBS title here, not the TBS title, the TNT title. That's a shame, And Alex Firehart said, I mean, even JBL won a barbed wire cage match via escape. Yeah. I think that I understand having outside interference, but that's what a cage match is meant to prevent. So you don't have the element of the cages preventing escape. You don't have the element of the cages preventing people from interfering. It's just barbed wire at that point. Just have a match where there's barbed wire around.
Yeah. There was good spots in it, like the spot where it looked like they were teasing that Buddy and King were turning and going with Edge, then to beat the shit out of Edge again. Adam Copeland again. Loved it. The return of the Edward Dusk's tag team partner, Gangrel, showing up.
Champion Gangrel.
By the way, like, he still wants to kick your ass, Lachlan. Just saying.
I know he does, and I'm terrible.
Dusky.
And by the way, Dusky, that from my heart, I love you, mate. You could have had your tag team partners back. I'm just saying. There was 3 of them, 2 of them. You could have been there as well, mate. That's bad on you. That's on you.
I love you and everything. Give me $100 and I'll get you Lachlan's address. All right, moving on.
Dusky, Todd's going to criticize you. I'm not going to criticize you. I think you're incredible, and I think that you're going to be MCW champion before the year's out. The AEW TBS title was
he doesn't
on the
believe
line
that.
Doesn't
believe your words.
Mercedes Moné defeated Willow Nightingale to become the new TBS champion. Sure.
The best part about this is that Mercedes didn't do a promo afterwards, because she cannot talk.
But I do like the idea of Statlander as what's his name's monster.
Stokely.
Stokely's monster. Yeah, I do like that idea.
You ready for it? Here's the thing. Oh, you're shit, Lachlan.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
It's just when I say it?
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, it's even when you don't say it. No, Todd, I'm not playing your games if you're going to, keep pointing Dusk at me, right?
Cool. That's cool. Here's what I don't understand, okay? If you are Statlander, why would you turn on Willow after she's lost the title? Exactly. Why wouldn't you help her retain the title, then turn on her so you could go after the title?
Yep.
That's the dumbest shit in the world. I'm sorry, it's just so fucking dumb. I know it's a way to move Willow away from Mercedes Moné so they can do that stupid fucking angle they did on Dynamite this week, which was dumb as fuck as well. But still, it was a good match. For someone who's had the time off that Mercedes has had, that was a decent match. Willow was really, really good. I like Willow. I like Willow to the point where I just don't like... I did not like Mercedes. I didn't want her to win that match because I just like Willow more. And I don't know if Mercedes is supposed to be a heel or a face. I don't think she knows.
Yeah. Anyway, 8th title match on this show. Swerve Strickland defeated Christian Cage to retain the AEW World title. No one thought that was going to be a different result. That was always the way it was going to play out.
I thought the patriarchy were going to have those belts. Hold on to them.
What an entrance by Swerve, though. If you're a Warriors fan,
yeah,
that was. I love that shit.
He's so
especially
good.
like and having Nana do it too.
Yeah.
Swerve, come out and play.
I'm like, we're going to talk about. We briefly mentioned that Ospreay's challenging, but we'll mention that later. Swerve coming out in the big puffy jacket with the belt over it, like he looks like the champion. I love Swerve. He is the coolest. He is such a good wrestler. He is such a good champion. I wish that this match wasn't against Christian Cage, who just wasn't going to win it ever.
But that's what I guess. Who are you going to put it in there with? If you wanted to, who are you going to have? Okay, if it wasn't Christian, who would you put challenging him?
Moxley.
For that first. But Moxley's the IWGP champion. They can't do that.
My answer is Darby Allin because, it's all Darby Allin all the time.
No, but like seriously, who do you put in there for his first challenger? That you're fine with them losing. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter that he's losing because he'll get his heat back by someone else's dad dying.
Either Wardlow or Archer or Killswitch. And no, none of them are believable. And the problem is you'd have had to have built them up. But all three are that whole, they're bigger than Swerve. Is he going to be able to, go past the giant? It always works really well when someone's first challenger is seen to be nuts or bigger or, nuts in the case of whenever they wheeled Foley out to be Austin's challenger and things like that. He was usually the first challenger because he had that mental and, the craziness about him. Do you know who I would have done it? And just would have worked.
You're going to fucking hate me saying it. I would have done it as Chris Jericho. Because everyone wants to see him get his ass, wanted to see him just get beaten down.
Yeah.
Fuck him off. And everyone would be afraid that they're going to fucking put the belt on him.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone's going, he's fucking talked to Khan and he's got it, hasn't he? That fucker. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that works.
So that works. But still, I still think Christian works. He's a disposable heel that works well. And, you could see them go, maybe they might do it. They might do it, just so Strickland's got someone to chase for a couple of months.
I would like to see them, like you said, Lance Archer, Jeff. I really want to see, I don't know, again, I'm going back to Lucha Underground. When Christian Cage debuted in Lucha Underground, the tear he went on, he ripped the title belt in half, right? Let's have a monster run through like that to be Swerve's challenge.
Well, they did it, but then they called off Wardlow.
That's what Wardlow is.
Yeah. They called him off too much, so you can't do that now.
Now, to me, I think that Christian is essentially bulletproof right now anyway. None of these losses are really hurting him. All he has to do is go out there and insult the town he's in and, call everybody's father dead. And he's going to be amazingly over again. That's not the problem. The problem is this wasn't a pay-per-view match. This was a damn Dynamite match.
Yeah. And the worst, it's not the best start for Swerve's, just because of the way it was positioned. It was not positioned as the main event. It wasn't if it was going to be, because the Naked Arena was going to take it. Because how are you going to follow fucking someone being set on fire? You just couldn't.
Swerve doesn't matter anymore, mate. You can't. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. He's not in the in crowd. Clearly, he's just the champion in a perfunctory sense. Because this is very much run by people with an in crowd.
He was good. I think he was good for a headline.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah.
And because Swerve is very earnest in the fact that he wants to the first Black World AEW World Champion. He wants to represent his culture and his people. He's very, very earnest with that. This is not on him at all. He's just not being positioned the best way for it.
Oh, horribly.
And now that they're going to have him work with fucking Ospreay, that's going to divide the fans again.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, moving on. Anarchy in the Arena. The Elite, Jack Perry, Kazuchika Okada, Matthew Jackson, and Nicholas Jackson defeated FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin. Darby Allin set Jack Perry on fire.
Do you know what the worst part is, right? Darby is still fucked. He's still fucked. Like he had to wear a face guard for his nose, and he could not run. He limped to the ring. That's a dude that was not ready to wrestle. He's not. I don't know how you get cleared. How did he get cleared? How did he physically get cleared by doctors to work when you can't run? I would like. No one's questioned that. That's the thing that fucking irks me. I've not heard one journalist. I've not heard one person question. Has he been medically cleared to work? When you can't run, how could you be medically cleared? If I could not run or could not walk properly, my work would not medically clear me to be on the floor.
No.
So how are they medically clearing him to do that shit that he did last night on thing? Whoop. And we lost to Jeff.
We're Jeffless. It's absolutely ridiculous. What a waste of half an hour as a main event. Like, just silliness. Silliness.
Yeah. But that's all it was going to be. We knew this, like, to start with. And the worst part is, there was no stakes to that match.
No.
Like, if it wasn't like, if the Elite win, then Matthew and Nicholas get to run AEW for the next 60 days. There was no stakes to that at all, which would have made sense if you just said, "Look, how about you get your team, Tony? You get your team, we'll get my team. If we win, we run AEW for the next 60 days, so we can mold it into our image. If you win, we'll go away for 60 days. You won't have to worry about us." There was none of that. It was just like, we're going to do this because we want to do this.
I also do seem to remember Tony Khan talking about how he was going to stay off screen. But that seems to not be.
Also, I'm very, very fucking disappointed with the internet. Very disappointed with the internet. You have prime footage of Tony comically rolling down a ramp. What's it called? A ramp, and you have not taken him and had him rolling down different things. How have you not done this, internet? I'm fucking ashamed with you people.
It's disgusting, truly.
Get on it.
Bad form. I go on. Sorry, Locke.
No, you go, Jeff.
First. The absolute unmitigated arrogance of Tony Khan to put on a match at the end of a show that had gone overlong, but still went another half an hour.
I will say, I really did enjoy the fact that they were playing the music.
Yeah.
And then Bryan Danielson stopped it and told him to play his music. And then Matthew Jackson stopped and go, "Do you know how much that music costs us? Turn it off." That popped me. Because I know how much that shit costs.
They were really funny. And it was nice hearing the final countdown it's always nice hearing the final countdown when Danielson comes out. There's no way this wasn't going to be entertaining in isolation, because it is. It's extreme bullshit, and it's not a good wrestling match. But as a piece of entertainment, bring it on. But it wasn't. I'm just not gripped by this. There's nothing tangible to cling on to. Do you know what I'm saying? I know that's a bit weird, but there's nothing. Wrestling storylines are things that you really sort of find identification in and cling on to. The only thing that this had going for it was when Kenny came out and was actually obviously still very sick. It gave you that emotional core. Now he's gone. There's no emotional core. You don't care about Tony Khan. Honestly.
Yeah.
No, you actually want to see Tony get it kicked.
Yeah. You care about FTR, but it's impossible to in this. You care about Bryan Danielson, but it's impossible to in this. And Darby Allin is clearly Tony's best friend because he keeps coming up all the time when they've got a stunning roster. I don't care.
So coming out of Dynamite, we've learned that obviously Trent Beretta joined the Don Callis family. There's going to be a ladder match at Forbidden Door to determine the next TNT champion. We had the New Japan Strong Women's Champions, Stephanie Vaquer, appearing after Mercedes defended the TBS Championship against Sky Blue. So it looks like that might be the match for Forbidden Door there. And Will Ospreay will challenge for the AEW World Championship at Forbidden Door. Ospreay won a Casino Gauntlet match on Dynamite to earn the right to face Swerve at Forbidden Door on the 30th of June, a Sunday. Todd, tell us about what you think about Ospreay challenging for the world title.
On the face of it, that's not a bad idea. Why the fuck have him win a title the night before? Why have him win that international title now when his focus is going to be the world championship? Why take that belt off someone like Roderick Strong, who is a worker? He's a worker's worker who could put on really, really good matches like every week against different challengers and be a shit heel to win those matches going forward until you actually make someone from that belt. You put it on Ospreay. Ospreay's going to defend it, sure. He's going to defend it every week until he wins that title. He's eventually either going to have to beat Swerve for it or he's going to lose to Swerve. Either way, the international title doesn't look any better coming out of it.
Yep.
Because if he wins it, they're not going to... If they have him hold both titles, what was the point of having the international title? Or are you just going to get rid of it? And that was the plan, to get rid of the international title. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if this was their plan going... If this was their plan going into this whole thing and they still go, okay, we still just need a match for Ospreay to have on the paper. Oh, we'll put him with Roderick Strong. That makes no sense. Like, it doesn't. And it's a Forbidden Door show. Put other fucking people... Like, you've got New Japan workers there. You've got... Shota Umino could have won that fucking match.
Thank you. Anyone could have won it. Anyone.
And like Alex Fireheart says, why wouldn't he challenge in London? I think this might be something where there's a non-finish or something, which leads to them doing the big rematch in London. Which again, dumb, because he's still got to take a loss to get rid of that international belt before he fucking.
The only thing I can think, and I'm hoping I'm right, but I'm probably not, is that they're going to get rid of the international title and just make it the world title. But I doubt. I agree completely. Anyone could have won that match. Forbidden Door always does well because they have that Bryan Danielson against insert wrestler here, and it's phenomenal. And so Forbidden Door is always going to be purchased by people. It didn't need to be Will Ospreay. Sure, Ospreay needs to be on Forbidden Door, but there's a lot of guys that he could face.
They've literally added in another fucking company for this one because the CMLL are in this as well. So it's CMLL, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and AEW, and they picked 2 AEW wrestlers to go for that title.
Put Atlantis in it. Or fucking Ospreay versus Atlantis.
I'm just saying, if you'd have put Shota Umino in it, that's a fucking good match. Everyone knows that fucking Strickland's probably going to win it, but that doesn't matter. Because it's going to be a really good match. You're fucked now because what are you going to do? You're going to burn... People are going to see the match. And I don't care if it's the start of the feud with Will Ospreay and Swerve and that this is a one-off. It's still not going to be special when they tie up it all in. In Wembley. They could have built to that. They could have built to the anticipation of these two aren't going to touch until Wembley.
Yep.
But no, they'll already have the match. They'll already do their 1,000 moves. This is why fucking... it's just dumb.
Well,
it's dumb.
You remember when WCW used to give away pay-per-view matches on TV? Like, they did it for
But that's all AEW do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
all they do. From day one, that's all they've done. They don't fucking do it any other way. They burn through so many matches, and then they wonder why fucking people go, I don't know about this. Like, it's going to be a great match, we know. Because we've seen it 500 times before.
Yeah.
On a fucking Wednesday.
On a fucking Wednesday.
Now, if this is the kind of positivity about wrestling you can't get enough, make sure you subscribe to Wrestle Radio Australia. Head to twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, Wrestle Radio Australia wherever you get your podcasts. We're Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and Instagram. Normally at this point we would go to a break, but we have an extremely special event for you all. And it's
let's not build it up like that.
Let's not build this up, right? We got views for the East from you.
I haven't been wrestling since Vince said, I think I'll call it
Pod, play your disclaimer.
Okay, yes, please, let's do this.
This is Views from the East. The opinions of Todd Eastman are his alone and do not necessarily reflect Wrestle Radio Australia.
Just the way it says Wrestle Radio Australia.
Wrestle Radio.
Wrestle Radio Australia.
I'm gonna go get a drink. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah, please avoid the backfire here, boys. Because don't put yourself all in it, Lachlan. There we go.
I'm just
I'm just gonna play this. Let's see where we go. There we go. We'll do that. All right. So, what I'm going to talk about is the elephant in the room that a lot of people in Australian wrestling are talking about, but no one's actually saying anything out loud, which is annoying, but it is what it is, because we all know. Australian wrestling at the moment has never been stronger. It has never been. It is back when pre-pandemic era, when we saw like crowds were full and Slam Pro Wrestling did 800 people odd the night before, and everywhere sells out. MCW to the point now where they're actually selling like tickets to a closed circuit venue that is close to the Thornbury, so they can watch that show. It's amazing. I love the fact. Then you have got things like this with FWA. With 5-star flight. Now, have a look at this crowd here. I mean, you can't see it if you're listening to the podcast, but there are maybe, and I'm being generous here, 30 people in this crowd. It is actually almost impressive that you can have the caliber of wrestler that you have on these cards and still only draw 30 people. And it's because mainly of this dude right here, who thinks it's cool to be able to put on a show so he can wear a Stone Cold vest and pretend he's Stone Cold with, and let's face it, some of the worst fucking moves I've ever seen. To the point where I've actually been I got contacted by members of the roster of his show saying, please tell him that everybody thinks he's a fucking joke. That's sad. When you've got your own roster when you don't organize things like people's accommodation until the night of or stuff like that, that's terrible. It's fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing to Australian wrestling when you've got bullshit like this going on. And this is not on the roster at all, because the actual people that are on the roster of the show are some really good fucking workers. Which again surprises me. How do you have such good work? How do you have someone like Adam Brooks on your show and you only draw fucking 30 people? I'm baffled at that. I cannot fathom that. When I started helping at Wide Bay Pro, it was pretty much known as one of the, or if not the worst promotion in the country. There was jokes about that show, about that promotion. And I was one of the ones who made those jokes. So I do not shy away from it at all. You work hard, I'm begging him, go, look. It's just a fucking embarrassment. And then to back it up, not only that, you draw 30 people last weekend. You drew 30 people to that show. And I don't even know how many fucking maybe tickets you gave away. You tried to sell it on Fight or Triller for fucking $23 to watch that shit live. $23 you want people to pay to watch that. Then you've got the temerity to go, okay, what we're going to do, I think it's in August, we're going to do 3 shows back to back to back in Melbourne. Are you fucking stupid? Do you know how many people have messaged me from Melbourne going, we don't want this fuckhead in our town? Fucking sort yourself out. Seriously. And I don't give a fuck anymore about you I want to knock him. I don't give a fuck, mate. Really, I don't. You can't afford to run a show. How are you going to afford flights up here to get me? I feel sorry for the people that do that too. I feel sorry. Sorry, Lachlan, you're in trouble. There you go.
Sorry. I'm trying to... No, it's not letting me. All right.
I'll do it. Hang on. You got it? Okay. I'm trying, and I tried to be nice. I actually really did try to be nice. When it first happened, I was not going to say anything. I didn't say anything on X. I didn't say anything on Facebook. I didn't say anything on Instagram. I could have easily done that. I didn't. But I had people literally message me to ask me to start talking about this bullshit. Because it's not... It makes Australian professional wrestling look bad. You make Australian professional wrestling look worse because you try to do this. If you want to do it, cool. Get help. What do we talk about with Tony Khan all the time? Get help. Get help booking. Get help doing other stuff. You obviously can't do this shit on your own as much as you think you can. So go and get some fucking help to do it. Listen. Stop thinking you're fucking amazing, because you're not. I don't think I'm amazing. That's why I constantly ask people for help. I'm constantly asking people, what can I do to be better? What can I do to... I've never heard you asking anyone that. I've never heard you... I've always ever heard of you making excuses for why shit goes wrong. Sort yourself out. It's fucking... We all love Australian wrestling. And right now... You are putting a black eye on the fucking thing. And it fucking runs me right fucking angry. Now, the unfortunate thing is, more people are going to listen to this and watch this than have ever watched your fucking shows. So everyone's going to know now how fucking useless you are. If you want to keep running, that's fine. Just be fucking smart about it. Don't go thinking you can run 3 nights back to back to back in a town you've never been in, where you don't have any sort of a fucking base of fan. You don't have anything like that. So why would you think you can run 3 nights back to back and sell tickets? And don't tell me because you're going to bring over internationals, because I see the internationals you bring over, they're not internationals. They're just wrestlers that happen to be from another country. You can't put people on shows that have been enhancement workers on fucking Rampage or Dark or Elevation or whatever it was fucking called and call them internationals, because they're not. And I'm sure that they're lovely people. But stop selling people a bill of goods. You could probably put on a really good promotion if you really wanted to, instead of making it a vanity project for yourself. And that's basically all this is. Anyway, that is Views from the East. We're going to go to an ad, and when we come back, we'll be back with the rest of this show. So until then, this is Views from the East. I'm Todd Eastman. That's my opinion, and you're all entitled to it.
Do you want to be a pro wrestler? Then sign up now to the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling.
Located 50 minutes west of Melbourne, with a full gym, strength and conditioning coaches, a nutritionist, and world-traveled professional wrestling coaches to help you achieve your goals in the professional wrestling business. Whether you want to be a wrestler, a manager, referee, or just involved in the industry, with no tryout required, the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling is here to help you achieve your goals.
All you have to do to start your journey is sign up now to be relentless.
So you have to add yourself in, boys. How ironic, though, that that's the ad that we played, because they're a perfect example of a promotion. They're a perfect example of what you do. Oh, you do it.
I've done it. All right.
There we go. Sorry, you still got angry at me then.
Jeff has muted himself, so I can't mute him. So if he wants to clap, he's got to do the work. Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world. We got some news to discuss. And we got to get through it a bit quick because we got chicken salad and chicken shit to talk about too. And boy, oh boy, did that AEW show take some time. News, as we've talked about, Adam Copeland has a fractured tibia that needs surgery. He'll be out for the foreseeable future. We kind of discussed that, but, you know, regardless of anything else, we hope he gets better soon. NXT was pretty stacked. Ethan Page made his NXT debut, attacking Trick Williams. On top of that, the TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace showed up on NXT, and she's going to face women's champ Roxanne Perez at NXT Battleground. PW Insider also reports there will be NXT representation on TNA programming as well. Thoughts on this stacked episode of NXT, Jeff?
I love this. NXT is very watchable again. I don't catch it every week, but I certainly caught this one. Apparently, they did not tell Roxanne Perez who her opponent was. And on really? It did say names like Alexa Bliss, Raquel Rodriguez, intentionally to throw people off. They literally kept Jordan in isolation till it was go time. She knocked it out of the park. Her promo was great. She looks $1 million. We've all worked with Jordan Grace now. We can all say we've worked with Jordan, which is quite a nice thing to be able to put on our belt. Yeah, I thought this was great. I think the idea of the two of them almost merging and doing some stuff together, and if they bring out some kind of bragging rights match between TNA and NXT, I'm all there for this. I think this will be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a lot of surprises on both sides, which I like.
Alex Fireheart says that they can't wait for a super show called NXTNA. Jeff, Jeff just talked. Todd, what do you think of the stack?
I love the fact that they're working with, or they're attempting to work with, because let's not go full hog and say what this is going to be amazing and this is going to be, because we just don't know yet exactly what the meat and potatoes of this whole thing is going to be. So the potential of this is amazing. Could you imagine if they have, by some amazing situation, Jordan Grace beat Roxanne Perez and take that title back to Impact, and then have Roxanne Perez show up on Impact and go after her because she wants her title back and blah blah blah. And then we have stuff like, you have like Josh Alexander coming in and all these other options. You can have Moose against Obi Femi, and you know what I mean. This is what I mean. Like, this is the options that they could have. Now, I'm not going, like, I don't want to, again, I don't want to go overboard, but it's also, exactly, Alex Fireheart said, easy way to give NXT folk more TV time. Exactly. It's exactly the way to do it. And let's face it, anyone that from TNA that ends up on NXT, they're going to be seen by more people that get seen on Impact.
And this is going to sound really weird, but Trent Seven now works for TNA. So Trent coming back to NXT as the angry, grizzled veteran, because he's a really good heel and a good smarmy heel, bringing his people. That's just so good. There's so much to this in potential, as long as they play it right and they don't show their cards too quickly. This will be great.
Well, do you know what I saw? Because the Rascals, is it the Rascals?
Yep.
They were like, put us back together.
Yeah.
So you can imagine seeing those three guys get back together for one show.
Yeah.
Against a tag team from NXT and the single guy from TNA. There's so many options that could happen, which is cool. I just don't want to get ahead of myself and have this just be a one and done thing and that's it. But it's also the fact that, like you talked about, Natalya. There was talks about Natalya coming out of contract. She wasn't sure what she was going to do. She might just go, look, I might just sign back up with WWE if it means it opens up a fact that now I can go and work Impact against Jordan, against those girls.
Keanu says the Rascals versus Speedball, Axiom, and Frazier. Ooh.
Keanu, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it, you huge tease, you.
I don't want to get too deep down that rabbit hole because Jordan Grace is, I think, kind of a phenom, right? She is absolutely incredible in ring. She is a lovely person to work with. Everyone immediately sees her star power when they see her. And WWE have worked with her before because they had her in the Rumble. So I am also aware that this might just be a lot of positive difference in the working relationships between WWE and Jordan Grace and
Mhm.
TNA through Jordan Grace or Jordan Grace through TNA. And this is specifically for Jordan. That's a possibility. I don't think that that's what this is, but I
also think baby steps. Let's just take baby steps here and see how
and
it
there's
goes.
not much of a better first step than Jordan.
And to be fair, before you were born, Lachlan, there was something called the Invasion. And everyone was doing this. Everyone who liked wrestling was doing this and going, oh, it's going to be this person against this person. It's going to be fantastic. So you're right, Todd. I don't want to get my hopes up because I just don't want them to be dashed. I want to take it for what it is and hope that it's amazing. Hope that we get all these matches that we want. I mean, I've now thought Speedball against Ricochet. Oh, my God.
I also want to mention specifically, I think Ethan Page is great. I think that his work in AEW was always good, even when I wasn't interested in AEW. I think this is a potentially great spot for him.
Yeah, sadly, I think he's going to get more of a chance here than what he got in AEW.
Yep.
Because they'll give him the mic. They'll give him the mic and let him go.
I think he'll get...
The fact that they've let him be all ego Ethan Page is good. They're not trying to repackage him. They're not trying to... They almost said AEW until Booker cut the commentator off. I think that was deliberate, but it was well done.
It was.
Isn't he an AEW? Wow.
Yeah. Look, I think this the one good thing about the competition is people are closing doors. We're back to not knowing when someone's going to show up. So, next year's Royal Rumble, Keith Lee showing up. Imagine that.
Yeah. Speaking of people showing up places, Becky Lynch's contract expires June 1st. She's expected to take some time off before either re-signing with WWE or signing at AEW. And there's some AEW contracts coming up as well. Mark Henry, Jake Hager, and Arn Anderson all not expected to be renewed. Jake Hager already gone. So, lots of potential movement there.
Henry's already announced that he's not re-signing. He announced that on Busted Open.
Yep.
And I mean, if you are Triple H, are you not calling Arn straight away and saying,
putting him in
what would you like?
We can get his work rate up. Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Yeah.
What would you like to? That's what I like. Would you like to be an agent's agent?
Yeah.
Would you like to work with like Cody again?
Yeah.
Would you because Cody's floated that idea already that maybe I should have a manager, like an old school type manager.
Or
like
just
he's floated that idea in interviews.
So that we can, have you around, like whatever it is.
Let's bring Brock into NXT.
Yep. I feel like Becky's going to stay at WWE.
Yeah, so do I. I can't see her going anywhere.
Absolutely.
And honestly, if she signs with NXT for more money than
AEW.
And she signs with AEW for more money than Monet, you watch Monet suddenly get very disgruntled.
Oh yeah. But I just think you can't be married to the ultimate WWE lifer and go to AEW. I just don't right?
Yes, very good call.
Yeah, but let's talk, I think, that's all good and exciting stuff, but maybe let's talk briefly about Aussie wrestling, because that's the thing that we love here. Ballroom Brawl at MCW, Saturday the 15th of June, just over 2 weeks away. It's sold out, so you can't go if you haven't got a ticket, but it will be streaming live on streamhorizon.com.au for $4.95. The card so far has got the Ballroom Brawl match, of course, the Over the Top Rope Battle Royal, or Royal Rumble style match, I should say.
20-person.
20-person Over the Top Rope Rumble. An 8-man tag match, Icons with Jarvis versus UGG, the Natural Classics, and Tommy Knight. The Inter-Commonwealth title on the line with Delta defending against Robbie Thorpe, and the MCW Women's...
By the way, too,
if you haven't...
Sorry, before you, if you haven't, please go and see the Robbie Thorpe promo this week.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yes.
So funny.
I actually had Rocky... I had Rocky message me going, you need to watch this.
Yeah.
So yeah, good promo.
There's also a live watch-along fan event and meet and greet. If you couldn't get tickets to Ballroom Brawl, just $10 you get access to the exclusive fan site at Thornbury Tap House, where there's going to be multiple big screens showing the sold-out Ballroom Brawl live from the Thornbury Theatre. Plus, there'll be special Ballroom Brawl-themed drinks and food merchandise available, appearances by wrestlers, exclusive Tap House Takeover prizes to be won, and more. If you've got tickets to Ballroom Brawl, there's free pre-show and post-show access there. What a cool event. So tickets for that, mcwtix.com.au. That's mcwtix.com.au. And that's an all-ages event there.
Do you know what that reminds me of? When WrestleMania, the very first WrestleMania happened in Madison Square Garden, and that sold out quickly. They opened up the theater next door to show it live on, I think it was, I can't remember what they called it, but it wasn't.
Closed circuit.
Closed circuit. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, like that reminds me of that. Like, we can't fit any more people in the building. Here's another building. You guys can watch it live on, like, closed circuit TV. Have your beers. Have your fucking, like, the atmosphere of being around people and watching it. Because it's different to, like, sitting at home. We can't do it because we're in Queensland, so we're far away from Melbourne. So we sort of, like, have to watch it either, like, in watch parties together or in our own homes. But, like, if you're in Melbourne, you can't go to the thing for $10. You can go and hang out at the pub really close to the event, have some beer, have some food, watch the show just like you were watching a WrestleMania or a Royal Rumble. That's a pretty good deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's great. I really like the idea of wrestlers who are injured or unable to wrestle be there for appearances. I think it's a really, really nice idea. I think there's going to be lots of surprises. I think it's going to be a good Rumble. I saw today they announced Jake Taylor, who... Yeah,
they announced Carlo Cannon was announced for it too.
And Carlo was announced. So it's going to be a really nice Rumble and good.
Also, I talked a little bit to MCW management, and there is going to be some special stuff happening at that tap house as well. So...
Yeah.
Very cool. If you're in Melbourne and don't have tickets, check it out, mcwtix.com.au to get $10 tickets to that Tap House event. Otherwise, streamhorizon.com.au where you can grab it for $5. If you do want to check out Stream Horizon before it's time for Ballroom Brawl, you can jump on there because Bret Hart's Australian Stampede and Mickey James Presents Her, which were on in Ballarat in April, are both on there for free. So that's a good opportunity to test out the Stream Horizon platform. Also in Melbourne, Renegades of Wrestling Save the Renegades is on Sunday the 9th of June. So that's a little over a week away with a stacked card including Chanel Phoenix versus Katie Lux, Aisha versus Tali for the Renegades women's title, Gore versus Jake Taylor, Crackerjack versus Ant Carver, and a table, ladders, and chairs match for the Renegades title. The rematch! It's happening again! Omen and Egg! It's on!
I was hoping. I was almost going to write Omen and Egg while you guys were talking.
I'm not taking that opportunity.
Look, I'm not going to be at that show, and by geez, I wish I could be in two places at once. That's going to be one heck of a great afternoon. Really good to see Renegades running events quite regularly now, and their shows, like, being peek behind the curtain, but Chris is one of Australia's foremost wrestling bookers, and so it's always interesting whatever he comes up with.
Absolutely. And so that's for the Melbourne scene. If you're in the Canberra scene, or want to be in the Canberra scene, Slam Pro Wrestling have announced Rage in the Cage 2. That's right. It's at the AIS Arena at the Australian Institute of Sport in Canberra on November 2nd. Once again, it's going to have the Slam Heavyweight Championship defended in a steel cage as the main event, as well as a $10,000 20-person invitational over-the-top rope battle royale. Tickets are going to be on sale June 10th at 9 a.m. from slamprotix.com.au, slamprotix.com.au for that.
And if you're in Melbourne, or if you're in Canberra, or if you're around Canberra, if you plan to get there, I would get those tickets really, really soon, because like I said, last weekend, 800 people. They got 800 people to just a regular show.
Yeah.
So, like, get around them. They are quickly becoming the best drawing professional wrestling company in the country. And Yeah, I mean, they are going to start challenging. They're going to start challenging guys like MCW, like PWA, like Renegades, for that title of being one of the best promotions in the country, just through strength of crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah, their crowd numbers are incredible, and they'll do it again. They'll sell out Rage in a Cage too.
And that's a massive like arena too, isn't it? The AOS arena.
I mean, look, Lachlan and I were there last year. It was quite full.
It was. It was packed. Tons of people.
Pretty full. They're going to sell it out, and they're going to sell it out twice as fast. So you want to jump on those picks if you're planning on going.
Absolutely. So June 10th at 9 a.m. those are going to go on sale, and that's going to be a massive number 2. Speaking of massive number 2, we talk about chicken shit. What chicken shit do you have for us from this past week, Mr. Todd Eastman?
I already mentioned mine. Mine was the Will Ospreay with the international title.
Yeah.
It's just silly booking. You took the title off someone like Roderick Strong, who was a hell of a worker. He's like we used to say with the IC belt was the Workers' Championship. That's kind of what the international title should be. That should be the Workers' title. That should be the title where you put you're a really good worker, you have a really good show. And on the face of it, putting Will Ospreay in that position, really good idea. Not when you're straight away going to point him towards the world title.
Yep.
That's a misstep. That's very much a booking misstep when you look at it. When you could have had you could have numerous amounts of people that aren't even on the show at the moment gunning for that title. You could have like on Dynamite, Denny Garcia said that he wants a shot at that title. You could have Denny Garcia. You could have Ricky Starks, who's sitting at home with his feet up. There's so many good wrestlers you could have either working with or against Roderick Strong for that title. But you've taken that and you've given it to Will Ospreay, and now Will's going to be tied up with Strickland for the next, I don't know how long. At least until Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
It's just, that to me, that's shit. That's shit.
It's crap. My chicken shit is also AEW, and it's once again a why didn't they make me care about this? The TNT title eliminator on Rampage is going to have Takeshita versus Penta. And I couldn't give less of a shit because it's going to be a pre-taped fucking Rampage match.
Yeah, it's already happened.
It's happened. I know the result of it. Right. I don't give a shit. They're two of my favorite wrestlers in the world. Make me care, AEW. It shouldn't be hard.
But that puts him into the ladder match, doesn't it? Whoever, I'm not going to say who the winner was.
Correct.
That puts the winner into the ladder match.
In the ladder match. Yep.
Yeah.
Alex Fireheart says that their chicken shit is EC3 defended the NWA World Heavyweight Championship on an All Japan show last night, and like, woof. Either he's gotten really bad in ring or he didn't give a flying shit about this match. AJPW took this title defense super serious. Old school NWA music, an NWA intro for the defense, whole 9 yards. And then he stinks up the joint. Such bullshit. And Keanu Reeves mentions that EC3 will be here in Australia soon defending that title at All-Star.
So we don't... Yeah, you did. I did it the other week too. Yeah, I did it the other week too. Look, no offense to you, Keanu, because you know I love you, mate. We don't talk about All-Star Wrestling for the mere fact of who they book. So
yes.
while they book a certain former United States champion,
yep.
I won't talk about them.
No.
And it sucks because like friends of mine actually like work for them. Like Eugenie is their women's champion at the moment. I love Eugenie. I think she's a great person.
Oh, she's phenomenal, isn't she?
But I just don't want to talk about them because of that person.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense in context to just hear that someone doesn't give a shit about their work by the sounds of things, and they're going to be at All-Star. Anyway, Jeff, do you have a chicken shit?
Yes, I do. Are we 3 for 3 on why AEW? Why, yes, we are. Adam Copeland, well, two things. One is the unmitigated arrogance of putting on a 4.5-hour show with 1,000 matches that we stopped caring about 6 weeks ago and still insisting that people watch it for some reason. 4.5 hours is too long for a pay-per-view, you arrogant C-word. Now,
the words of Jeff Setti. Sorry. Doing Alan Rickman myself there.
The second one is who allows a 51 or 52-year-old man to do what Adam Copeland did? Wasn't anyone concerned with his safety? Didn't anyone go, hang on, probably not a good idea? Whoever was the agent or producer or whatever you want to call it for that match should be disgraced. Because someone...
Yeah, but we both know that doesn't happen in AEW. We both know that doesn't happen.
Well, then...
Like... They looked after Sting, but they weren't going to... Like, Adam probably would have done it regardless. Let's face it.
Yes, he probably would have. But the fact is, surely Malachi could have stepped in and gone, mate, come on. Let's not put your body at risk. It was ridiculous. It was a bad-looking move. It wasn't a good idea. Just stop doing that sort of shit. Stop putting your wrestlers at risk. Close that kind of booking loop. There you go. That's my real chicken shit. Have someone produce the matches. Have a professional go in there. Because you can bet they wouldn't have approved of it. No wonder Mark Henry's taken his walking papers. He can be a strength coach in NXT. That's absolutely sure.
Alrighty. Well, let's turn it around then. Jeff, do you have some chicken salad for us?
I do, but you'll have to go to Todd first because I need to remember
Todd,
which one.
Chicken salad for us.
Yes, my chicken salad is... I was watching... Because it's way too much for me to watch all of the Super Juniors. And I'm honestly...
Why?
I'm not that overly interested in it. To be perfectly honest with you, there are people that I'll pop in and out to watch. One of them, of course, is Robbie Eagles, and unfortunately, he's been mathematically eliminated from this year's tournament. But still, if you have New Japan World, go to Night 9, Best of Super Juniors, Robbie Eagles against Hiromu Takahashi. Fucking great match. That is Robbie Eagles... This new fucking, ruthless edge to Robbie Eagles. Hiromu selling. It was just a really, really good match. Really, really good match. I even, I hardly ever do this. I messaged Robbie afterwards and just told him how good I thought that fucking match was. And it's something I rarely do. I rarely will message someone that I've watched the match and go, that was really fucking good. But that's one of those matches where I go out of my way to tell other people to watch. I think I even did it on X. And it's another thing, something I don't usually do. I don't usually go on X, go and watch this match because it's really fucking good. That was a really, really good match.
Just for context on that match, and, I don't like relying on, people's ratings of things and stuff, but if we look at Cage Match, right, it is the highest rated Best of the Super Juniors match on Cage Match for this year. It is, in the last month, the second highest rated New Japan Pro Wrestling match. The only one that rated higher was Gabe Kidd versus Shingo Takagi. That's... Takahashi and Eagles was, the best New Japan has been for weeks.
It was so good. It was such a good match.
It's rated better than Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. It's rated better than Gunther Orton. It's rated better than Despy and TJP. It's rated better than Roddy Strong versus Will Ospreay, right? It was a belter.
Yeah, Hiromu's selling. Robbie's like I said, just the way Robbie carried himself in that match. Just so good. So good. My hat's off to him. I love this new evolution of Robbie Eagles in TMDK. I love it. It's so good.
And in all honesty, Robbie is such a phenomenal performer. Whatever you want to do, Robbie will come up. We had an ending for our show in Perth. Robbie came up with a tweak, and it was brilliant, and it was great, and we ran with it. And then he chopped the shit out of Welchie, which I'm always going to pop for. No, seriously. But he is such an easy person to work with. He's so likable. You instantly like Robbie. On the Friday night, he's like, at the end of the main event, he's standing next to me with his arm around me, and he goes, "Shit, Jeff, I got to do a run-in." He just then ran off and did the run-in. He's just such a lovely person, really.
I just need to double check. Are we certain that Robbie is mathematically eliminated? Because I'm pretty sure...
I heard it today on Post Wrestling said he was eliminated today mathematically. It's basically a 3-horse race for that semi-finals.
Yeah, and it's... Well, because I'm looking at my version of the standings, and this could be out of date, but it's him, Sho, Duki, Ishimori, and Takahashi are contenders at that point. Takahashi and Ishimori both have 12, and then I've got Eagle, Sho, and Duki on 10 each. But
it was Duki because of I think it's because of countbacks or something like that. Like if certain people win, it means more for. So that's.
Sure, because he's still got the Duki match, which could mean that he ties for first, but then comes third place as part of that tie.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's showing you that he's currently Takahashi and Ishimori both have more points than him. Other than that, nobody in the tournament has more points than him.
No.
He's tied with Sho, Duki, Titan, Despy, Hayata, Blake Christian. And then everyone else is on less points.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a stellar
But for me, like, Robbie's been the MVP of this tournament. Everything I've seen him in, fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Just, yeah.
I'm going to talk about Alex Fireheart's in a second, because it's the same as mine. Jeff, chicken salad?
Yeah, I'm going back to WWE. And I'm going to something that we hinted on and touched on earlier this episode, and that is Liv Morgan's heel work. Liv Morgan's character work is just tremendous. She's very watchable. She's the kind of thing now when she's coming out, I kind of put the lunchbox down and watch whatever she's part of. They've made her very quickly a very interesting character. Something that hadn't quite been achieved. She was missing a third dimension, and she's found it. She's knocking it out of the park. And it's really pleasing to see.
Yeah. Alex Fireheart says, chicken salad, Anazi versus Miyahara for the Triple Crown Championship. This title defense was make or break for me with Anazi. Anzai. I keep saying it wrong. Speaking of which, I should mention, I got criticized. Somebody pointed out that I keep saying Joshi, which is a running joke that I have, because it is pronounced Joshi. I call it Joshi. It's a running joke. I also call it Puro when I'm talking about Japanese wrestling. It's a joke about pronunciation. It should be pronounced Joshi. That did get mentioned by someone, so I want to jump on that. Sorry. Anzai versus Miyahara.
Did you tell him to get fucked? I would have told him to get fucked.
I did. Okay. This title defense was make or break for me with Anzai, and he really put the work in. Kento made him look like $1 million. Great work by both guys. Well worth watching if you can. I think Miyahara might be the best wrestler in the world right now. Holy shit. That dude is electric, and it seems like everything he does is just phenomenal, right? I think the Saito match was like a 4.5 from Meltzer or whatever, and I think Meltzer underrated it, right? And then the Anzai match was also extremely good. He is pure charisma, and every match he puts on is stellar. And I think that people who are paying attention to AJPW, where I know New Japan is the bigger company, but the way people have been talking about Okada up until the AEW signing, that's going to be Miyahara now. It's going to be Miyahara's the guy.
That's a big call.
Because I sort of forgot, I just want to give a shout out to two Aussie girls, Mickey Fortune, who had a match in Ice Ribbon this past week. I think it was this past week or the week before. And then also a Little Mars from Queensland up here is having a match in Ice Ribbon coming up soon. So, well done to those two.
Little Mars can get fucked for correcting my pronunciation.
Oh, it was her! Oh, go fuck yourself, Mars.
But
I was going to wish you good luck, Mars. You follow me on Insta. I like you anyway, but good luck.
Mars living the dream by being over there training with. So do you know who she's training with, Todd? She's training under a member of Triple Tails.
I have no idea what that is. You could have said DuckTales.
Hang on.
I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
Incredible.
She's training with Mio Shirai. Yeah.
Wow. So Mio Shirai is Io Sky's sister.
Yep.
Worst part is right now all I have in my head is DuckTales. Woo!
right, well, look, if you want to be a part of these skills we put up every week, then you can by joining us here at twitch.tv. Wrestle Radio Australia. Hit that follow button so you get notified when we go live. Also, hit the subscribe if you want to support what we do. And if you haven't already, subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever it is, hit subscribe so that we go into your feed. It is fully free. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can give us a review. Give us 5 stars. That's really helpful. Gets us into more ears. You can also follow us at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and Instagram, Wrestle Radio Australia on Facebook. If you want to get a hold of some merch, head on over to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia. You'll find our stuff there. The proceeds don't go to us. They go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, 2 awesome charities that support men's mental health here in Australia. On top of that, mate, these boys are distracting me. I need them. Head to WrestleRadioAustralia.com because that's got access to all of them. Todd and Jeff, is there anything that you need to plug before? Oh, I should plug Todd and Jeff, by the way. This guy over here, that's at Beast Eastman. This guy over here, that's at Jeff_Seti. I'm at Lachlan Albert. Jeff, though, also has his other project. You can see it down there is at Wrestle_Brainia. There'll be more news about WrestleBrainia soon, I'm sure, Jeff.
Very, very soon. We got
hey. We had a chat before the show, right? About something else that you guys fucking do. And you didn't mention you even did it. Can you fucking mention it now?
Yeah, give it a shot. Go on, kid. I believe in you.
Lachlan can't even remember. You did another podcast, mate. You have another podcast. You have another whole podcast.
That's the podcast.
You fucking idiot.
I have another podcast
about board games and forget to mention it ever again. It's on Spotify. It's on all of your favorite podcast apps. Have a listen. It's a lot of fun. We talk about board games for an hour, and we wind up laughing a lot of the time. So have a listen to that. Board of Games, wherever you get your podcasts.
Board of Games is great. We need to have Todd on for an episode and just force him to sit through talking about games. It'll be great.
I had to sit through and play one of them. All right, and I'm just like, what does this do? Oh, that's a really good one. Of course it is.
We threw Todd in the deep end. It was mean of us. Todd, do you have anything else to plug before we go?
No, mate. I've got fucking time off. I'm loving life at the moment.
Yes, you've also got time off, I believe.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm not working. I'm going to get over this cold.
Damn it. Anything else to plug?
No, not really.
Well, I guess I'm the only ones. Go on.
I will be at BorderCon next weekend. If you're coming along to play some board games in Albury, Wodonga, come and say hi.
Well, these two lazy jerks are knocking off, apparently, so I'm the only one left doing work, which means I need to say thank you so much for joining us here at Making Chicken Salad on Wrestle Radio Australia. We can't wait to do the next one next Thursday at 8 o'clock. So until next time, on behalf of Todd Eastman and Jeff Seti, I've been Lachlan Albert. Have a good one.
Go and support local shows.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad